Come in. You have to. Let's go. Get up.
Christian!
Again.
Drive now!
We should go.
The film opens with a couple who take their son, Christian, to an institute specializing in autism, seeking guidance for his challenges. They explain that the father, due to his military service, frequently relocates, making stability difficult for Christian. The institute's director suggests that Christian could stay there, but the father declines, insisting that Christian must confront the realities that distress him. Shielding him from these experiences would not prepare him for the world outside. In a waiting room, Christian is absorbed in chanting nursery rhymes to himself while working on a puzzle. As he nears completion but cannot find the last piece, he begins to have a meltdown. Fortunately, a little girl finds the missing piece and hands it to him, helping him regain his composure. Fast forward to the present day, Christian has established a career as an accountant. In his office, he assists a couple facing financial difficulties, guiding them on how to file their taxes efficiently to maximize their savings. Grateful for his help, the husband invites Christian to practice shooting on their property whenever he likes. Meanwhile, in a high-stakes meeting, King, the director of the United States Treasury, summons analyst Medina to his office. He commends her work but presses her about her lack of ambition for advancement. When she claims contentment in her current role, King accuses her of dishonesty, revealing her juvenile arrest records and asserting that they should have barred her from federal employment. He informs her that to keep her job, she must undertake a special project, uncovering the identity of a notorious figure known as the Accountant, who aids criminals in managing their illicit finances and has a reputation for violence. King sets a deadline for her to resolve the case by the end of the month. Later, Christian returns home to prepare dinner. Before bed, he engages in a ritual involving strobe lights and heavy metal music while painfully massaging his shins with a wooden rod. This triggers flashbacks of his mother abandoning the family during Christmas when he was a child. After taking his medication, he retires for the night. Some time later, Christian visits his client's property to practice shooting. Impressing the man with his remarkable accuracy. He then drives to his storage unit where he keeps a trailer filled with valuable collectibles, artwork, various currencies, and an extensive arsenal of weapons. Lying on his bed, he recalls his time in prison, where he was mentored by a cellmate who taught him essential social skills and prepared him for handling money in the criminal underworld. Christian is jolted awake by his phone ringing. A British woman on the line, evidently an associate of his, advises him to diversify his clientele as suspicions about him are growing. Reluctantly, he agrees to take on a more conventional client. Christian enters a meeting with his new clients, who operate a robotics prosthetics company. They reveal that one of their in-house accountants has discovered evidence of embezzlement within the organization, and they seek Christian's expertise to uncover the truth. He readily accepts the assignment, promising to begin his investigation the following morning. Meanwhile, Medina reviews a collection of photographs and zooms in on an image that partially captures the accountant's face. She carefully crops the photo and forwards it to the face mapping department for analysis. In Switzerland, Brax, a menacing enforcer tasked with holding businessmen accountable for financial crimes, stealthily enters a car parked in a garage. He brandishes a gun at the driver, coercing him into a promise to cease shorting other companies. After delivering a brutal warning, Brax allows the man to leave, satisfied with his compliance. Back at the office, Christian finds a woman asleep at the conference table when he arrives in the designated workspace. He awkwardly wakes her, and she introduces herself as Dana, the very accountant who initially uncovered the missing funds. She briefs him on the situation and assumes they will collaborate closely, but Christian firmly states his preference for working alone. With that, she exits the room, allowing him to focus on his task. During a press conference, Medina receives an urgent call from Homeland Security regarding her facial recognition request. They inform her that they have identified an audio clip from one of Brax's violent encounters, featuring a man pleading for his life just moments before his demise. They send the chilling audio file to Medina for further investigation. At lunch, Dana sits beside Christian in an attempt to engage him in conversation. Although Christian struggles with social interactions, he makes an effort to connect as Dana shares stories about her father and how he inspired her career in accounting. Returning to the conference room, Christian immerses himself in calculations, filling the whiteboard with complex equations until he runs out of space and begins writing on the surrounding windows. His relentless work leads to a breakthrough. He discovers a significant financial leak. Meanwhile, Medina listens intently to the audio file at home, using her technology to isolate the accountant's voice. She manages to discern that he is softly chanting a nursery rhyme to himself. Excited by his findings, Christian rushes to share his discovery with Dana, revealing that he has traced the missing funds to an account linked to a non-existent company. Just then, a shareholder interrupts them, demanding results. Christian candidly explains that he hasn't reached a conclusive answer yet and requires more time to identify the culprit definitively. In a dark turn of events, Brax pays a late-night visit to one of the shareholders of the robotics company. He commands the terrified man to retrieve insulin from the fridge and bring it to the table. Brax presents him with a grim choice: inject himself with the insulin and stage his death as a suicide so his wife can claim his life insurance policy, or resist and face certain death for both himself and his wife. The man makes the harrowing decision to inject himself. The following morning, when Christian arrives at the conference room, he finds custodians erasing his meticulous work from the windows. He urgently instructs them to stop. Just as the company owner enters to deliver devastating news, his best friend, the shareholder, took his own life the previous night, consumed by guilt over embezzling funds from the company. The owner insists that Christian must cease his investigation. Frustrated and disheartened by the abrupt end to his pursuit of justice, Christian returns home. In a fit of anger and despair, he resorts to an intense ritual of striking his shins with a wooden rod while blasting heavy metal music and illuminating the room with strobe lights. As memories flood back of his mother abandoning their family, he snaps the rod against his shin and hurls his medication across the room. Eventually, he calms himself, takes his pills, and goes to bed. The next morning, as Christian steps outside, he notices a car trailing him. He heads to his client's property to practice shooting once more, only to be haunted by a childhood memory of brutal training sessions with his brother and a merciless trainer hired by their father. The recollection is filled with pain as the trainer pushes them beyond their limits, insisting they continue fighting despite their injuries. Meanwhile, inside the house, the two clients are being held hostage by a pair of thugs, who demand that the wife go outside to summon Christian. When one thug leads her to the front door, Christian acts swiftly, shooting him from the yard. The remaining thug forces the couple into their truck, but Christian fires at the vehicle. Forcing it to halt before dragging the thug from the cab. In a tense confrontation,
Juarez. Gambino.
Christian strangles the man with his belt, demanding to know who sent him. The thug reveals he doesn't know who's in charge, only that he was ordered to kill Christian and Dana. Without hesitation, Christian kills him and departs for Dana's residence.
Kill Christian Wolff, transfer all domestic account.
Virus to Triple Z. Done in the DOT database.
Cool, obviously.
She is not your problem. Silly of me. What else?
Address and phone number.
Meanwhile, a man follows Dana into her apartment complex just as Christian arrives and spots him entering the elevator with her. Acting quickly, Christian sneaks into the back of the building and ascends the stairs. Once Dana reaches her apartment, two delivery men force their way inside under the guise of delivering a package. As they attempt to subdue her, she fights back fiercely and retreats to the bathroom for cover. Christian breaks into the apartment. Dispatching both men before urging Dana to come with him. Brax receives a call informing him that his men have been killed by the accountant. Taking Dana to his trailer for safety, he instructs her to wait outside while she prepares. However, she enters anyway and is taken aback by the sight of his stash of money and weapons. When she presses him for answers about his clandestine activities, Christian struggles to provide any clarity. Meanwhile, Medina receives an update from language services regarding the audio file she submitted. They inform her that the man she's investigating may be a victim of childhood abuse or could suffer from a neurological disorder that triggers his nursery rhyme chanting during moments of stress. Determined to follow this lead, Medina heads to the IRS offices and collaborates with an employee to cross-reference the accountant's aliases against individuals with high incomes. Christian then takes Dana to a luxurious hotel for her protection, where she questions him about his fighting skills and experiences. He confides in her that his father, a soldier, trained him to confront bullies, and he reveals his struggle with autism, expressing the deep yearning he has to connect with others despite the challenges he faces. In response, Dana shares a poignant memory from high school about a dress she desperately wanted. To afford it, she learned to gamble and count cards, ultimately wearing it just once, driven by a desire to fit in with her peers. This moment of vulnerability brings them closer, and as Dana leans in for a kiss, Christian suddenly pulls away, struck by a realization regarding the robotics case. He explains that someone has been siphoning money out of the company only to reinvest it, thereby inflating profits even further. Later, Christian follows Brax down the street, but Brax spots him and opens fire. Undeterred, Christian pursues him into a hotel room, where he discovers the lifeless body of a shareholder, Rita. Meanwhile, Medina collaborates with an IRS employee to uncover the accountant's true identity, Christian Wolff, and learns that he operates out of a small firm linked to numerous cash businesses, laundering his income to obscure his actual earnings. Medina informs King of her findings, revealing that much of Christian's income is funneled into neuroscience charities. Upon returning to the hotel, Christian finds Dana asleep on the couch. A haunting flashback surfaces. He recalls his father forcing him and his brother to retaliate against a group of bullies who had tormented him at school. Realizing the danger of keeping Dana involved in his tumultuous life, Christian decides to leave and begins packing his belongings. Meanwhile, King and Medina lead investigators through Christian's home, noting his peculiar living habits. They discover an array of unregistered weapons and an advanced security system. Brax is subsequently hired by the owner of the robotics company to install security cameras in anticipation of Christian seeking revenge. King dismisses the other investigators, choosing to stay behind with Medina for a private conversation. He prompts her to recount the details surrounding her arrest. She reveals that she attempted to kill a drug dealer who was preying on her sister and expresses no regret for her actions. King then shares his long pursuit of the accountant, detailing the struggles he's faced along the way. He recounts being at the hotel where Christian's audio was recorded and witnessing Christian commit murder.
Reasons. The man who was killing them. Something very important. He was there for his pound of flesh. I've been wedged in a little prick, belch, fart, and break. Our man had come at it.
When Christian held him at gunpoint, afterward, and questioned him about fatherhood, King answered affirmatively, prompting Christian to let him go. The narrative shifts to reveal the circumstances of Christian's own incarceration. A flashback shows the chaos during his mother's funeral when a violent altercation erupted. In the turmoil, Christian and his father injured several men, leading to his father's tragic death. Forced into handcuffs, Christian was left helpless as he watched his father's lifeless body on the ground. His father's sacrifice became a pivotal moment for Christian, who interpreted his survival as a sign to abandon violence. Just as he contemplated leaving his job for good, he received a call from a woman with a British accent who provided tips about an impending illegal deal. This prompted him to remain on the force, utilizing her as an informant in his quest for justice. King sat down for an interview with Christian's former cellmate, a federal informant who had been imprisoned for aiding criminals in laundering their money. Tragically, once he was released, the very people he had once worked for tracked him down, subjected him to brutal torture, and ultimately took his life. When a guard informed Christian of his cellmate's death, it sent him into a panic, prompting a desperate escape from prison. Curious about King's motives, Medina asked why he was sharing this information. King revealed his intention for Medina to take over the phone duties for the British informant once he retires in 7 months. Just then, the landline in Christian's home rang, and Medina answered. On the other end was the British woman, offering Medina a crucial tip regarding the robotics company. Meanwhile, Brax was at the company owner's residence when Christian approached the property. Brax dispatched several of his men to confront Christian, who fought valiantly and eliminated all but one of them, whom he spared for interrogation about the house's layout. Observing through security cameras, Brax issued orders to his men on how to subdue Christian. Despite sustaining multiple injuries, Christian managed to overpower them and gain entry into the house. As Brax monitored the footage, he suddenly recognized Christian as his long-lost brother and commanded his men to stand down. Brax confronted Christian, expressing his anger over a decade of silence and frustration that Christian attended their mother's funeral. He held Christian responsible for their father's death, leading to a physical confrontation where Christian allowed Brax to hit him, giving his brother an outlet for his pent-up rage. Taking control of the situation, Christian held Brax at gunpoint until emotions settled, and the two brothers reconciled. Just then, the company owner entered the room, visibly confused and upset that Brax hadn't dealt with Christian. Without hesitation, Christian shot the owner before returning his focus to his brother. Before leaving, he promised Brax they would meet again in a week to catch up. In a parallel storyline, another set of parents visited the neuroscience center seeking guidance for their son with autism. Their son wandered into a room and encountered Justine, the director's daughter, the same little girl who had once assisted Christian with a puzzle during his childhood. The director explained that Justine is nonverbal but communicates through a sophisticated laptop. When Justine demonstrated her communication skills, the voice that emanated from her device matched that of the British woman who worked with Christian. Meanwhile, Dana returned to her apartment to tidy up and received an unexpected delivery. Upon opening it, she discovered what appeared to be a classic painting dogs playing poker. However, upon closer inspection, she realized that the outer canvas was merely a facade concealing something far more valuable within. As she tore away the outer layer, she unveiled an exquisite painting that she recognized from Christian's trailer, deepening the mystery surrounding their connection. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.